I never thought I'd be the one to spill the family beans. But here I am, looking back on how it all went down. My name's Emily Hayes. And at 38, I've spent most of my life feeling like the odd one out in my own kin. Growing up on a dusty ranch outside Bozeman, Montana, where the Rockies loom like silent judges, I learned early on that dreams don't pay the bills, or so my folks kept drilling into me.
Dad.
Jack Hayes ran a small cattle operation that barely broke even, always one bad winter away from folding.
Mom.
Linda kept the books and the home fires burning, but her real talent was for sharp words that cut deeper than barbed wire. And then there was my little sister, Sarah, for years younger, the golden child who could do no wrong, flitting from one gig to another like a butterfly in a wildflower field.
Me?
I was the bookworm, the one holed up in the barn loft with a notebook, scribbling stories while the others mended fences or rode herd. I'd dream of turning those tales into something real, maybe even hitting the big time. But every time I'd share a snippet, they'd laugh it off. Emily's off in La La Land again, Dad would grunt over supper, his calloused hands waving dismissively. Real life's out here in the dirt, not in some fairy tale. Mom would chime in with that pitying smile. Honey, stick to helping with the accounts. Writing's a hobby, not a living. Sarah, ever the echo, would roll her eyes and say, yeah, sis, get with the program. Nobody reads that deep stuff anymore. I took a job in town at Big Sky Books, a cozy independent publisher in Bozeman, editing manuscripts for up-and-coming authors. It paid steady. Let me afford a small cabin on the outskirts with a view of the Gallatin River rushing by. My days were predictable, coffee at dawn.
Red pen edits till noon.
Maybe a walk along the trails to clear my head. But at night, I'd write. Not for them, but for me. I'd pour out the hurts, the way they'd mock my artsy-fartsy ambitions. How Sarah's failed ventures, yoga instructor 1 month, artisan soap maker the next, got praised as hustle, while my steady climb was playing it safe. They didn't know I'd been documenting it all. Every family barbecue, where they'd trot out old stories of my high school literary club flops. Every holiday where Dad's beer-fueled rants about wasted potential left me biting my tongue. I turned it into a novel, fictionalized just enough to skirt libel. Names changed, details tweaked, but the heart of it raw and real. A story about a woman in the American West, battling family expectations and finding her voice through writing. I called it Echoes of the Range, and submitted it under a pen name, E.J. Reed. The E.J. for Emily's Justice, though I'd never admit that. The call from Sarah came on a crisp fall evening, as I was editing a Western thriller.
Ink.
You gotta come to Mom's birthday bash this weekend. We're grilling steaks out back. And I'm bringing this new guy, Tyler. He's big on social media, runs a ranch lifestyle account with like 60K followers. I could hear the excitement in her voice, laced with that familiar undertone, like she was doing me a favor by inviting the loner sister. Sure, I said, knowing refusal meant a guilt trip marathon. I'll be there. That Saturday. I pulled up to the old ranch in my beat-up Ford pickup, the gravel crunching under tires like old bones. The place hadn't changed, weathered barn, corral with a few head of cattle lowing in the distance, the big skies stretching endless overhead. Inside, the kitchen smelled of charred beef and Mom's famous potato salad, the kind that's more mayo than spud. Dad lounged in his recliner, nursing a Coors, while Sarah fluttered around Tyler, a slick guy with designer boots and a phone glued to his hand. So, you're the editor, sis, Tyler said, aiming his camera my way like it was a six-shooter. Sarah says you've got a knack for fixing other folks' words. but never quite nailed your own. Sarah giggled, looping her arm through his. Remember that story you wrote in college about the ghost town? Total snooze fest. The prof said it was too introspective for the lit mag. Mom piled on. We tried to tell her, focus on something practical. But Emily's always had her head in the clouds. Dad chuckled. Wasted stamps on those queries. What was it? 25 rejections. I sat there, smiling through it, my hand steady on my water glass. They'd been pulling this routine for years, using my failures as fodder to feel better about their own stuck lives. Tyler filmed the whole thing, commenting on how real and unfiltered our family was. This is gold for my feed, he said, zooming in. As the laughter peaked, Sarah raised her glass in a mock toast to Emily's quiet life, if she ever wrote about it. It'd put folks to sleep. I clinked glasses, my smile never fading. They had no idea I'd already written it. That Echoes of the Range was climbing charts, readers praising its authentic take on family strife in the heartland. Or that I'd kept it secret, letting their jabs fuel the fire without them knowing they'd become the kindling. Looking back, the real turning point was a decade earlier, right after I finished my first manuscript. I'd printed it at the local copy shop. 300 pages of a tale about a rancher hearing whispers from the windswept plains, a metaphor for unspoken family pains. I left it on the kitchen table, heart pounding. Mom found it first, skimming with a frown. What's this nonsense? Dad joined in, leafing through and bursting into guffaws. The sagebrush sang secrets?
Kid.
That's not writing, that's hallucinating after too much sun. They passed it around, reading bits in exaggerated drawls. Sarah joining the chorus. By morning, it was in the trash, soaked in coffee dregs. Thought you were done with it, Mom said casually. Time to grow up.
Eminencia.
I salvaged what I could, but the damage was done. I shelved writing for years, focusing on editing, becoming the reliable one they could count on for loans or advice, all while they chipped away at my spirit. But pain festers, and 3 years ago, after another roast at Thanksgiving, I started again. This time, no metaphors, straight-up fiction drawn from life. The toxic dad with a gambling habit instead of drinking, the enabling mom, the spotlight-stealing sister.
I kvirred under EJ.
Read. And an agent bit fast. This hits home, she said. Raw Western grit with emotional punch. The deal came quick, with a small press specializing in regional stories. I kept my routine, smiling at family gatherings, letting them think I'd given up.
Now.
As dinner wrapped, I excused myself early, driving home under a star-studded sky. The book was out, buzzing in online forums, but they were clueless. Little did they know, the storm was brewing. The buzz started small, like a distant thunderhead over the Absarka Mountains. Echoes of the Range hit shelves quietly, but word spread through book clubs and ranch-town libraries. By week 2, it cracked the USA Today list. Reviews poured in, a gut-wrenching look at family bonds frayed by jealousy and neglect, one said. Feels like it was ripped from real life in Big Sky Country. I watched from my cabin, refreshing sales on my laptop, my pen name shielding me like a good pair of chaps. At work, colleagues chatted about it over coffee. Heard it's based on true events, my boss said. Author's anonymous, smart. Given the drama. I nodded.
Keeping mum.
Home life rolled on. Dad calling for help fixing the tractor. Mom venting about bills. Sarah texting selfies from her latest flop, a boutique selling authentic Western wear that folded after 3 months. They'd hit me up for cash, dressed as family support, and I'd send it. biting back the irony. Then came the escalation. Sarah's call. Family's in a bind. Ranch taxes are due. And Tyler's pushing me to go viral with some collab. Come over Sunday? We'll brainstorm. I agreed, packing a signed copy in my bag, not ready to reveal, but testing waters. The ranch smelled of hay and tension. Dad grumbled about feed costs. Mom fretted over foreclosure whispers from the bank. Sarah and Tyler dominated, him filming her day-in-the-life reels. Over pie, the mockery surfaced. Still editing those cowboy romances? Tyler quipped.
Camera rolling.
Sarah laughed. Em's too busy dreaming big. Remember her ghost wind story? Epic fail. Mom sighed. We told you. Writing's a long shot. Stick to what pays. Dad added. All those queries, waste of time and money. I absorbed it. Then casually mentioned, actually, I've been reading this new book.
Echoes of the Range.
Hits close to home. Sarah perked up. Oh yeah. Tyler's obsessed. Says it's prime for adaptation. The sister's a total user, reminds me of nobody we know. They chuckled, oblivious. Driving home, anger simmered. But I channeled it, revising the sequel outline. The book climbed to NYT Top 10. My agent buzzed, offers pouring in audio rights. Foreign translations. And get this, a streaming service wants options for a series. I signed, stipulating control over the family portrayals, no softening the edges too much, but room for nuance. Months blurred. I attended a family Easter, where Sarah announced her big break, partnering with Tyler on sponsored posts. Finally hitting it, she beamed. But the digs came, unlike some who play it safe. That night, I decided, time to peel back the layers. Not with vengeance, but truth. The humane part? I'd offer an olive branch in the reveal. A chance for them to own up. The tipping point hit when the book went viral on TikTok. Booktokers dissected the toxic family dynamics, some speculating it was autobiographical. Comments flooded. If this is real, the author deserves justice. My royalties swelled. I paid off my cabin, even stashed for emergencies. Then Mom called.
Voice shack.
The ranch is going under. Banks calling the loan.
Can you?
I wired money, but attached a note. Read Echoes of the Range. Might explain a few things. Silence for days. Then Sarah's frantic text. WTF.
Ink.
That book. The sister Clara? That's me. The ranch. The mocks you wrote about us?
Calls poured in.
Dad. This some joke. Mom. How could you air dirty laundry? I drove out, heart pounding like a stampede. The confrontation unfolded in the living room. Faded photos of us kids on the walls. Yes. It's me, I said, standing tall.
EJ. Read.
I wrote it. Shock rippled. Sarah burst into tears. You made me look like a leech. Tyler, ever the opportunist, started filming till I shot him a glare. This ain't content, Dad paced. We were tough on you, but that's life out here. Survival. Mom whispered. We thought we were pushing you to be strong. I laid it out. The trashed manuscript. The constant belittling. How it nearly broke me. But I turned it into this. It's not just revenge. It's my story. Legal clarity hit. I'd consulted lawyers. Fiction protected me. No defamation since details were altered. You can't sue. It's inspired by. Not exact. Sarah sobbed. Ruined my brand. But then, a shift. Mom hugged me. Tears flowing. We were wrong. Blind tear hurt.
Vi åker till dawn.
Dad admitted his fears. Failing the ranch made him lash out. Sarah confessed jealousy of my quiet strength. Tyler slunk off. Relationship cracking. By morning, a fragile peace. I offered help with the ranch. On terms, therapy for all. Real support. The lesson? Families break. But honesty mends if you let it. Healing didn't come overnight. Like waiting for rain in a Montana drought. After the reveal, the ranch felt charged, air thick with unspoken regrets. I stayed that night, crashing in my old room, posters of Western authors still tacked up. Dawn broke golden over the fields. And over coffee, we dove deeper.
Dad.
Gruff as ever. Muttered. Never meant to crush your spirit.
Eminência.
Ranch life's hard. Thought I was toughening you. Mom nodded. We projected our failures. Your steadiness shamed us. Sarah was rawest. I rode your coattails, mocking to feel superior. But seeing Clara, it was a mirror. Tyler bailed by noon, muttering about drama overload. Good riddance. We agreed, no public blasts. I'd handle the media my way. My agent arranged an interview with a Western lit mag, where I'd come clean as EJ. Read, emphasizing growth over grudge. Back in Bozeman, work buzzed. Colleagues pieced it. You're the author? Mind blown. Sales spiked post-reveal. Readers praising the real redemption arc. The streaming deal solidified, a limited series set in Wyoming. With me consulting, I insisted on nuance, show the family's humanity, the cultural pressures of Western life, where self-reliance sometimes masks vulnerability. Family sessions started via Zoom with a counselor in Billings, unpacking decades of baggage. Dad opened about his dad's alcoholism, how it echoed in his habits. Mom shared her dreams deferred for the ranch. Sarah admitted her scattershot careers stemmed from fear of failure. Like mine.
Me?
I owned my silence. How bottling hurt let it fester. Light lesson emerged. Communication ain't weakness. It's the lasso that pulls folks together. Summer rolled in. Wildflowers blanketing the hills. I visited more, helping with branding calves, sharing writing tips with Sarah, who started a blog on authentic ranch life, no filters. One evening, around the fire pit, Dad handed me an old box. Inside, salvaged pages from my first manuscript, yellowed but intact. Kept 'em, he gruffed. Sorry for the trash bit. Tears came, but healing ones. The book tour hit, readings in Denver, Salt Lake, even Seattle. Fans shared stories, toxic kin, dreams deferred, reinforcing why I wrote. Legally, a few whispers of suits from distant relatives. But my changes held, no real names. Altered events. My lawyer and Helena confirmed, fiction's your shield. Tensions flared occasionally. Sarah's jealousy resurfaced when the series cast a big-name actress as me. Why not my story, she griped. But therapy helped. Your story's unfolding now. Mom's health scare, high blood pressure from stress, united us. I footed bills from royalties.
Nostrines.
By fall, the ranch stabilized. I invested in solar panels, easing costs. Dad even read the book, cover to cover. Proud of you.
Kid, he said.
Voice cracking. The humane shift? No total erasure of pain, but space for grace. Revenge faded, empathy bloomed. As winter snow blanketed the valleys, the series filmed near Jackson Hole, capturing the stark beauty of the Tetons. I flew in for set visits, advising on details, the creak of saddle leather, the bite of wind-whipped dialogue. The cast nailed it, the dad's gruff regret, The mom's quiet strength. The sister's arc from antagonist to ally. Directors praise my input. Your real-life tweaks make it humane. Back home. Family bonds strengthened. Sarah landed a steady gig co-hosting a podcast on Western women entrepreneurs, crediting my book for her wake-up. You showed me vulnerability's power, she said over Thanksgiving turkey.
Dad.
Sober more days than not. Joined AA meetings in town. Mom started a book club at the local library. Echoes their first pick. Helps folks talk, she beamed. I wrote the sequel, Whispers on the Wind, focusing on reconciliation in the West, families mending amid vast landscapes. It drew from our therapy breakthroughs. Light on drama, heavy on hope. Advance buzz was strong. Publishers touted it as evolution of a voice. Legal clarity remained key. When a tabloid sniffed for dirt, my team shut it down. Inspired fiction. Protected speech. No suits materialized. The humane ending diffused ire. Readers messaged, your story taught me to forgive, but set boundaries. One stormy night, a call from Sarah. Tyler's back. Stirring crap online. He'd posted a veiled rant about betrayed influencers. We laughed it off. His followers dipped. Ours grew. Family game night followed. Board games by the fire.
No Max.
Just connection. Spring thaw brought closure. At a ranch barbecue, Dad raised a soda. To Emily, who turned our mess into meaning. The lesson stuck. Revenge tempts. But redemption heals, a gentle nudge for all. With the series premiere, life exploded. Red carpets in LA. Interviews on morning shows. How do you humanize revenge? I'd say, by showing we're all flawed, but capable of change. In the West, we fix fences, not burn 'em. Ratings soared. Critics lauded the compassionate drama. Family joined a screening party at my cabin. Popcorn and cheers. Post-credits. Hugs flowed. Sarah, broodsis. Mom, we grew. Dad, thanks for the mirror. Royalties funded ranch upgrades and new barn. Debt cleared. Sarah's podcast thrived. She guest starred in the series. I mentored young writers at Bozeman workshops. Stressing, write your truth, but leave room for grace. The light lesson? Families aren't perfect, but with effort, they evolve. Pain's a teacher, not a jailer. Years on, we're closer, holidays genuine, support mutual.